Good morning, afternoon, or evening, everybody. Welcome to my channel if you're new. My name is Chloe, and if you are new, I would appreciate if you could hit that subscribe button below, like, comment, share, all those fun things, thumbs up, thumbs down, whatever. So continuing along with FDR, we are now on part 4 of at least 6, maybe 7 videos for this one president. I did write out the rest of his key events, and when I counted how many pages his was in my notebook, it was 41 pages. So my hand is obviously dead, but at least I have everything written down. I might take a little break after I'm done with all these videos for FDR. So if you're new and this is your first video that you're watching of my presidential highlights videos, I encourage you to go back and watch them all the way from the beginning, from Washington DC, or from George Washington all the way through FDR, and I will continue these on and through Trump until I'm done. So anyway, continuing on, we are now in the year of 1939. January 5th, FDR submits a budget. He formally sends to Congress requesting $1.3 billion for defense from the total of $9 billion. Now remember, we still are not in World War II yet. The U.S. has not joined the war yet. February 13th, Justice Louis Brandeis, I know I've mentioned his name before too. He retires from the Supreme Court at the age of 82. He was appointed by Woodrow Wilson in 1916, and he was the first Jewish judge on the Supreme Court. February 27th, the Supreme Court declares a strike. It's a sit-down strike, one of the organized labor's most powerful tactics is considered unconstitutional. March 15th, German army invades Czechoslovakia. And for those of you that didn't watch the previous video, it's now considered the Czech Republic and Slovakia as two separate countries, but before they divided, they were known as Czechoslovakia. It was one country. 5.5 months after the Sudetenland peacefully... okay. I got misplaced here. Okay, so the German army invades Czechoslovakia 5.5 months after Sudetenland peacefully through the Munich Pact. By the end of the month, they are completely controlled by Germany. Czechoslovakia is. April 1st, Spanish Civil War. It comes to an end. U.S. recognizes the government under General Francisco Franco. And I think I've mentioned him before too. April 7th, Italy invades Albania. 1 week later, FDR writes to Hitler and Mussolini to offer a 10-year guarantee of peace in Europe and the Middle East. In return, the U.S. gets cooperation in international trade and armament talks. Neither Mussolini or Hitler acknowledge the offer, and Hitler revokes the German non-aggression pact with Poland and the naval agreement with Britain. Hitler was not a very nice guy, of course, we all know that. November 28th, transatlantic passenger air service. It begins with a Pan American Airways, which later became Pan Am, which no longer exists, from Long Island, New York to Lisbon, Portugal. The Dixie Clipper makes the trip with 21 passengers in under 24 hours. Now think about that. It takes probably about 6 or 7 hours to fly from New York to Portugal nowadays, and this was just under 24 hours. So think of how far we've come. July 24th, FDR's alliance with the U.S. and Britain. Against looming fascist totalitarian threat, he asks Congress to repeal the arms embargo, revise neutrality law, and end the trade agreement with Japan. August 23rd, Germany and the USSR. They sign a non-aggression pact in Moscow. The world learns the next day, and they fear Hitler's intentions to launch a war on Poland. September 1st, Germany invades Poland. This starts World War II, although I have to debate with that because we still were not in the war. So maybe that's like, I don't know. I'm not sure how to take that, because obviously this is 1939. We haven't joined the war yet, so how could it be considered World War II? But that's what my research showed me. September 3rd, France and Britain. They declare war with Germany. FDR announces neutrality. September 28th, Germany and USSR divide Poland. Russia invades from the east 11 days prior to that. October 18th, American ports and waters were closed. FDR states the closure to submarines of belligerents. November 4th, the Neutrality Act of 1939 was signed. Repeals the general embargo on arms and allows the sale of arms to belligerents on the cash and carry basis. And I know I talked about that in the previous video. It allows the U.S. to aid Britain and France while staying neutral. So again, we're still not in the war, but we support other countries that are. November 30th, USSR invades Finland. They bombed the capital of Helsinki. 1940. January 1st, Allies take losses in the Battle of Atlantic, largely by the German subs or U-boats against the British Navy. Allies lose 440,000 tons of shipping in 2 months. That's a lot. March 13th, Finland signs the armistice and treaty with the USSR, ending the Russo-Finnish War, ceding territory to Russia. Due to the losses in Russia, Hitler later invades the USSR. That'll come up. April 9th, Germany invades Norway and Denmark. In preparation to invade France, Copenhagen falls within 12 hours. Norway resists for 2 months with British and French aid before Germany invades there. May 10th, Germany invades Luxembourg, Netherlands, and Belgium. Winston Churchill becomes the Prime Minister, replacing Neville Chamberlain. 5 days later, Churchill starts asking FDR for aid and participation in the war. May 25th, FDR establishes the Office for the Emergency Management. He does so believing we will eventually be in the war. Now remember, this is May of 1940. May 26th, Germany sweeps across France. British and French converge on Dunkirk to prepare for the invasion. Dunkirk is in France. Germans reach the beach. I'm not going to laugh. Starshadow, I'm not going to laugh. 330,000 were already evacuated. June 4th, Churchill delivers an address. It was his most famous radio address, stating, "Retreat from Dunkirk, a symbol of Allies' determination to win the war." Paris falls 10 days later. June 10th, speech at the University of Virginia. FDR states neutrality changes to non-belligerency. U.S. now openly aids the Allies without going to war against the Axis powers. June 20th, FDR appoint Republicans. 2 prominent Republicans, Henry L. Stinson as the Secretary of War and Frank Knox as the Secretary of the Navy. June 22nd, French government capitulates to the Germans. June 28th, Congress passes the Alien Registration Act. It requires registration and fingerprinting of all aliens, not from Mars. Prohibits individuals or organizations from overthrowing the U.S. government by force. July 1st, the political parties convene. So this is an election year. Republicans nominate Wendell L. Willkie and Senator Charles McNary of Oregon as president and vice president. In Chicago, the Democrats nominate Roosevelt and Henry A. Wallace. Now remember, up until this point, Give me just 1 second. It's the beginning of FDR. Back several pages. Hate when these pages stick together like this. Okay. Up until now, his vice president has been John Garner for his first 2 terms. So now they're nominating a new vice president, Henry A. Wallace. July 10th, the Battle of Britain begins. It was the first bombing raid by the Germans. Britons fight back and drive Germany out in October. FDR submits to Congress defense budget of $4.8 billion. 10 days later, Congress gives $4 billion to provide 2 ocean navies. A 2-ocean navy, rather. Pacific and Atlantic. September 3rd, U.S. trades destroyers. It trades 50 destroyers to Britain for the right to construct air and naval bases on British holdings in the West. November 16th, FDR signs Selective Training and Service Act. Authorizes the first peacetime draft, requires all men 21 to 35 to register. November 5th, FDR wins. It was the first time the president serves more than 2 terms, first and only time. The electoral votes were 449 over 80 to 82 over Wilkie. That's 27.2 million to 22.3 million in the popular vote. Now, if any of you guys can help me understand the difference between the popular vote and the electoral vote, please leave your comment below, because I am confused about that. Because obviously the electoral votes was more like a landslide, but the popular vote was a little bit closer, so I don't quite understand how that all works. I mean, I could Google it, but I want to see what you guys have to say. Homework for you. November 29th, end of the year fireside chat. FDR declares the U.S. must be arsenal of democracy. Nationwide polls shows 39% think the U.S. involvement in World War I was a mistake, down from 64% in 1937. Now that was for World War I. So I'm still trying to decide how I want to divide up the next few parts, because 1941 obviously is when we became part of the war, and there was a lot of stuff that happened in 1941. So I might just make 1941 its own video, and then divide 42 and 43, and then 44 and 45 into one. So we have several more, a few more videos to do. Now, I did want to, I was going to make this its own video, but I think I'm good on time here, so I'm just going to go ahead and put this in here. Starshadow had asked in my Herbert Hoover video because of the Great Depression and how many people were unemployed at that time, which I think was 9 million something. Let me go back and look. Hold on 1 second. Press. Hold on. Okay, so under Herbert Hoover, the last thing I reported was that by the end of the year of 1932, 13 million were unemployed. Wages are at 60% less than in 1929, and the business losses equaled $6 billion. So 13 million people were unemployed at that time. So she asked, how does that compare with today? So I did a little research. My source for this was Statista.com. Statista.com. And it went back a year. So unemployment from in February of 2020, like right around the time that COVID started hitting our country, this is just in America, not around the world. 5.72 million were unemployed. March 2020, 7.14 million. April, 23.08. So a lot of people lost their jobs due to COVID. May, 20.99. This is all millions. June, 17.75. July, 16.34. So now it's starting to come down. August of last year, 13.54 million. September, 12.55 million. October, 11.05 million. November, 10.73. December went up just slightly, 10.74. January of 2021, 10.13. And last month, it was at 9.97 million people are out of work. Now, obviously, we're not quite done with March yet, so I don't have that statistic. But that is quite a number for April. 23.08 million people were unemployed last year. And if you were one of those people, I'm sorry for you. If you're still looking for a job, DoorDash is looking. Hopefully things will start going back to normal soon. So come back for the next video. I know I said that Silver Mist was going to come over yesterday, which was Tuesday, but it ended up her car is not working, so we ended up going over to her place. So obviously I didn't do this video yesterday. So Silver Mist and Sea Dog are not part of this video, nor is Brandy, their cousin, who currently lives with Sea Dog and myself temporarily. She probably will not be a part of these videos. She is very shy, so we're likely not going to have her part of the videos. She is an adult, so it's not like she's a child or anything, but there you have it. So hope you guys are staying safe and healthy. Again, if you want to watch anything to do with the Chauvin trial, pay attention to kstp.com, kmsp.com, KARE11, the number 11.com, or WCCO.com. I know I started watching part of day 1 yesterday. We're on day 3 today. But I started watching it like late last night, and it was like over 7 hours. So I'll probably be watching it today to see what's going on, see how they spin things. So anyway, thanks for joining me today for FDR Part 4. Come back for Part 5, Part 6, Part 7, Part 20. And of course, in tomorrow's video, it will, or the next video, I will have that newspaper for Pearl Harbor. So still have it sitting over on my boxes there. So anyway, thanks for joining me. Thanks for supporting me over the last few years, and look forward to seeing you guys back on FDR Part 5, or Part 5. So you guys have a sunny day. Take care. Class dismissed. See you on the next one.